In the battle with the passion of lust, there are a number of strategies, a number of ways we need to think if our battle is to be successful. We need to reflect on ourselves and what it is we're really feeling, what we're allowing to grow within us, and what it is we're doing. Many times people will excuse their lust, their passion, by blaming the women that they see in the street. Oh, they wear clothes that are so different to the past. They dress inappropriately. It's the summertime. Look how they're dressing. Do we not hear in this excuse the voice of Adam when he said, "The woman that you gave me, she led me to sin"? We must take responsibility for our lust, for our passion, for the things that we do. We cannot go blaming others. When we confess, we're told never to confess the sins of others. It is always our own sins that we confess. So what kind of confession is this when we say, but it's their fault? Look how they dress. And we must ask ourselves, if my mother, my sister, my daughter were to dress in this way, would it evoke these kinds of passions within me? Hopefully, most people would respond, of course not. Why then? Because already we feel differently towards these women than the women that we are allowing lust and the passion to overcome us towards. Why? Because we love these people. We love these people truly. Our sisters, our mothers, our daughters. We already carry in our hearts love for them. And when we allow lust to overcome us towards some stranger or even somebody we know, then it is a lack of love in our hearts. We must recognize it is a complete lack of love to turn somebody into the object of our lust. And we must repent of this, recognize that our hearts are unloving. We need to change how we feel towards everyone, how it is that our hearts are experiencing other people. Is it love that we are allowing to grow within us? Is it the love of Christ? Or is it something more, something different? And are we feeding this lust and this passion? Nowadays, of course, many young men feel they are trapped by pornography. It's so available. And pornography, of course, as a number of recent fathers have said, is the iconography of the devil. It is the iconography of the devil. It is evil. And it fuels evil within us. It fuels the passions. It fuels lust. It reduces all women in our mind, in our heart, to something that gratifies our feelings. It reduces women in this way. Human beings made in the image of God are then reduced to something that will satisfy our desires. Again, this is evil. St. Isaac the Syrian says to us, whoever does not voluntarily withdraw himself from the sources of temptation will involuntarily become the slave of sin, will be captured and taken away by sin, he says. So let us look at what St. Isaac the Syrian is saying here, that if we do not voluntarily, if we do not choose to deny ourselves, to turn away from those things we know stir up the passions within us, then involuntarily, against our choice, we will be dragged away by sin. We will become slaves of sin. We will be captured. We will become servants of evil. We will find ourselves incapable of resisting sin because we will become the slave of sin. So we must first, as with all temptations which must be cut off at the root before they begin to grow, we must choose to deny ourselves, to reject those things that fuel temptation. And pornography fuels desire and lust. It fuels the passions. It drags us away into the clutches of the demons. Who amongst us would look at these defiling images if we could hear the cackle, the howls of laughter and delight of the demons when we do so. These things will enslave us to the passions. The Fathers teach us that temptation, all temptation, comes in two ways. There is the outer and the inner. And Christ himself, of course, was tempted, but he never allowed temptation to enter into him. And we do this. We allow temptation to move from the outer to the inner when we engage with it, when we fantasize, when we gain pleasure from the images of that temptation, and it enters into us. And once temptation has entered into us, it is much more difficult to resist. So we must cut it off before we allow it to enter us. Do not fantasize, do not engage, do not allow pleasure to accompany these feelings of temptation.